The day I got the HOA violation notice about my patio umbrella. I swear I saw red. It was just a damn umbrella navy blue. Nothing fancy. Shading my little backyard oasis where I'd sip coffee and grill burgers on weekends. But no. Karen, sorry. Mrs. Deborah Klein. HOA president decided it was an unapproved structure and aesthetically displeasing. I read that letter, sitting at my kitchen table, and laughed out loud. Aesthetically displeasing this from a woman whose front yard looks like a flamingo-themed fever dream, with plastic pinwheels spinning like they're auditioning for a circus. I tossed the letter aside, figuring I'd deal with it later. Big mistake. By day 3, Karen was at my door, clipboard in hand. Her lips pursed like she'd just sucked a lemon. "Mr. Thompson?" she said, voice dripping with that fake sweet tone. "You will remove that umbrella, or we'll escalate this to fines." I leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed, and said, "Deb, it's a freaking umbrella. You serious?" She didn't blink. "Rules are rules. John. Compliance by Friday. Or else." I shut the door before I said something I'd regret. But man, I was fuming. Rules are rules. Fine. I'd play by her rules my way. See? I'm not the guy who just rolls over. Back in college, I built a go-kart from scrap parts just to mess with my roommate who kept stealing my parking spot. So when Karen decided to make my umbrella her personal crusade, she didn't know who she was poking. I spent that night Googling HOA bylaws, sipping a beer, and plotting. The rules were clear: no permanent structures without approval, but temporary ones. Gray area. Umbrellas were temporary, sure, but what about something bigger? Something that'd make her head spin. I'm a contractor by trade, so I've got access to tools, materials, and a crew who'd laugh their asses off at this. By morning, I had a plan: screw the umbrella. I'd build a retractable roof over my entire patio. Temporary, technically, but so in your face it'd make Karen choke on her own rule book. The next week, I called up my buddy Mike, who's a wizard with metalwork, and we got to sketching. The plan was a sleek, motorized canopy, think fancy pergola, but with a middle finger to the HOA baked into every bolt. It'd cover my whole patio, 20 by 30 feet, and retract with the push of a button. Temporary, because it could fold away. Beautifully petty, because it'd be impossible to miss. We ordered aluminum framing, weatherproof fabric, and a motor system that'd make it slide smooth as butter. Cost me a couple grand, but worth every penny to see Karen's face when it was done. By Friday, when her deadline hit, I didn't take the umbrella down. I left it up, just to see how far she'd push. Sure enough, another letter arrived, this time with a $200 fine. Failure to comply. It read. I taped it to my fridge like a badge of honor and got to work. Construction started the next weekend. My backyard turned into a war zone, saws buzzing, drills whining. Mike and me swearing as we wrestled beams into place. The neighbors peeked over fences, but nobody ratted. They all hated Karen, too. By day 2, the frame was up, a skeleton of steel glinting in the sun. That's when Karen showed up, marching across my lawn like she owned it. "John, what is this?" she snapped, pointing at the structure. I wiped sweat off my brow, grinned, and said, "It's my new patio cover. Deb. Temporary. Check the bylaws." Her eyes narrowed. "This is unacceptable. I'm filing a formal complaint." I shrugged. "File away. It's not permanent, She stormed off, and I swear I heard her muttering about standards. Mike high-fived me, and we kept building. The real fun came when we installed the motor. This thing was a beast, smooth, quiet, and fast. Push a button, and the canopy unfurled like a giant middle finger to the HOA. But I wasn't done. I wanted Karen to feel it. So, late one night, I grabbed a can of red spray paint and a ladder. On the underside of the canopy, where it'd be visible when retracted, I painted in big, dripping letters. Screw your rules. Childish maybe. Satisfying hell. Yeah. I invited Mike over for beers to admire it, and we laughed until we couldn't breathe. The next morning, I hit the button to retract the roof just as Karen's morning jog took her past my yard. She stopped dead, mouth open, staring at the message. I waved from my patio, sipping coffee, and called out, "Morning, Deb," like my new setup. She didn't respond, just turned redder than the paint and jogged off. The HOA meeting was the next week, and I was ready. Karen had rallied her minions, and they came armed with photos of my roof, my umbrella, even my goddamn mailbox, which apparently wasn't regulation height. I walked in with a copy of the bylaws, highlighted, and a smirk. When it was my turn to speak, I laid it out. The roof was temporary, fully compliant, and if they wanted to fine me, they'd need to prove otherwise. The room went quiet. Karen sputtered about community standards, but nobody backed her up. Turns out, half the board was sick of her too. They voted to drop the fines, and I walked out feeling like I'd just won the Super Bowl. Now, every morning, I sit under my retractable roof, sipping coffee, knowing Karen sees it from her kitchen window. She hasn't knocked on my door since. The umbrella's still up, just because I can. Sometimes. I catch her glaring from her yard, and I just hit the button to retract the roof, letting "screw your rules" shine in all its glory. Petty, sure. But when you mess with a man's patio, you get what's coming. So, what do you think? Did I go too far? Or was this just the right amount of spice to shut Karen down? Let me know, because I'm still chuckling about it. The end.